Hey guys, Waltz here with a discussion of the tragedy of Julius Caesar, Act 4. Let's get into it. Maybe. Yeah, what happened in Act 3? So, the conspirators kill Caesar. The deed is done. Caesar did not escape the Ides of March alive. The most famous line there is "Et tu, Brute," meaning "you too, Brutus." Basically, Caesar was like, "Oh man, I'm getting stabbed, but I can fight my way out." But when he turns and sees that his friend and confidant Brutus also has a knife, Caesar basically admits that it's over. Then he dies. Antony wants to speak at the funeral, but he has to meet Brutus's conditions and he's got to follow the rules. Remember, he never ever said anything bad about the conspirators and Brutus, and he never directly praised Caesar. But in his speech, friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears, he was able to turn the people of Rome against the conspirators. So Brutus and Cassius have to get out of town. So entering into Act 4, you have, let's go to the play here, Mark Antony, Octavius, and Lepidus. And they are what's called a triumvirate. Those three men represent the rulers of Rome. They are the rulers of Rome, and the triumvirate. Think of it like we have three systems of government in the United States. We've got the yeah, legislative, executive, and judicial. Think of it like this, except it's just three dudes that are in control. Now, this is key. Like, I just want to talk about these opening lines. Antony, like when the scene opens, Antony says, "These many men shall die; their names are pricked." He's basically saying, "All right, we've got this list of guys, and we're going to kill them." Octavius says, "Your brother too must die. Consent you, Lepidus." And Lepidus says, "I do consent. Prick him down, Antony." Lepidus says, "Upon condition Publius shall not live, who is your sister's son, Mark Antony." Antony says, "He shall not live. Look, with a spot I damn him." Basically, you've got these three men who rule Rome sitting around a table making a list of people that have to die, including relatives of their own. Now, this line right here, where he says, "Look, with a spot I damn him," that's kind of a recurring thing through Shakespeare's plays. This idea of a spot with a, you'll see it later in Macbeth. Lady Macbeth will say, "Out, out, damn spot," as she's trying to wash blood off her hands. So the black spot is like a symbol in Shakespeare's plays. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Pirates of the Caribbean, but that's also a thing where you damn someone to death to Davy Jones' locker with the black spot. All right, so and then for the play, what this kind of does is show us that, like, we think of Antony as like this like noble person who's gonna like do good for Rome, and then like right off the bat, he's like, "No, we're gonna kill some people because they disagree with us. They're the bad guys." Now Antony sends Lepidus away. Now Octavius here is a relative of Caesar's. He's his nephew. And Antony says of Lepidus, "This is a slight, unmeritable man, meet to be sent on errands. Is it fit the threefold world divided? He should stand of one of the three to share it." He's basically saying, like, okay, we've got a triumvirate, we've got three rulers, but like, is this dude really worthy of being one of the three people? Octavius says, "So you thought him and took his voice, who should be pricked to die in our black sentence and prescription." He's saying, well, you think enough of the man to take his advice when we're talking about people to kill. Antony says, "Octavius, I've seen more days than you, and though we may lay these honors on this man to ease ourselves of diverse slanderous loads, he shall but bear them as the ass bears gold, to groan and sweat under the business, either led or driven as we point the way. And having brought our treasure where we will, then we take down his load and turn him off like to the empty ass to shake his ears and graze in the commons." So basically saying, like, he's our puppet to manipulate. Like, we can put our basically, if people are gonna be mad at us for doing this, we can be like, "Oh man, yeah, that was Lepidus." Like, so Antony is saying to Octavius there, we can use him as we may. And Octavius says, "You may do your will, but he's a tried and valiant soldier." And Antony says, "So is my horse, Octavius, and for that I do appoint him as store of provender. It is a creature that I teach to fight, to win, to stop, to run directly on, is corporal motion governed by my spirit, and in some taste is Lepidus, but so." Basically, Antony is saying, like, Lepidus is an honorable soldier in the same way my horse is. He's useful, but when we're done with him, we're done with him. So again, like this kind of gets to the idea that like we're built up to think that Antony is this like noble person who's going to do right by everyone, but this kind of goes against that. All right, now we get into the actual handout here, the quick check. What does Brutus accuse Cassius of doing? So I've got my little handout here. Let's go over the quick check. So right out the gate here, Brutus shows up to Cassius's camp, and now so you've got two military camps. You've got Brutus's camp and Cassius's camp, and they're going off the two camps, or going against the two camps of Antony and Octavius. So you've got four separate military camps, two on each side. So Brutus comes to Cassius's camp, and things aren't good. Let's see here. They meet, and Cassius is like, "Most noble brother, you've done me wrong." Brutus says, "Judge me, you gods. Wrong I mine enemies, and if not so, how do I wrong a brother?" He's saying, Brutus is saying, like, I don't even treat my enemies unfairly. Why would I treat you unfairly? We are. And Cassius says, Brutus, this sober form of yours hides wrongs, and when you do them, he's like, dude, like you're acting all dignified and cool, but you're doing that to hide your wrongs. And Brutus here says, like, all right, like calm down. Let's go inside and talk about our problems. Let's not argue in front of the soldiers, basically. So they go inside, and Cassius says, "That you wrong me doth appear in this. You have condemned and noted Lucius Pella for taking bribes here of the Sardians, wherein my letters praying on his side, because I knew the man, was slighted off." Brutus says, "You wronged yourself to write in such a case. In such a time as this," Cassius says, "in such a time as this, it is not meet that every nice offense should bear his comment." Brutus says, "Let me tell you, Cassius, you yourself are much condemned to have an itching palm, to sell and mart your offices for gold to undeservers." So what he's saying here is like, Cassius is like, dude, I wrote a letter saying that Lucius Pella is a good guy, and you still condemned him. And Brutus is saying, you were wrong to write the letter. And Cassius says, like, okay, fine, but like, do we really have to like, like these are tough times, man. Like we're at war. Do we really have to, condemn everyone for every little infraction? And then Brutus says, Cassius, you yourself are condemned to having an itching palm. So he's mad. He's mad at Cassius because he says Cassius and his men have itchy palms, meaning they're taking bribes. Basically, in the provinces and areas that they control, they're letting people who don't deserve roles in government and power get those roles by giving them money. And so, yeah, that's not good. And because remember, what's Brutus all about? Brutus is all about honor. So so Brutus here is basically saying, like, listen, we murdered Caesar for justice's sake. And so if we're going to kill Caesar just for you to turn around and do the things that we thought Caesar was going to do, we may as well have not done it. We're basically as bad as he is. And Cassius is like, Brutus, bait me not, I'll not endure it. You forget yourself to hedge me in. I am a soldier, I older in practice, abler than yourself to make conditions. um and they argue here, and basically Cassius is like, I'm gonna kill you, like, and Brutus is like, no, like, I'll use you for my mirth, yea, for my laughter when you are waspish. He's basically saying, like, Cassius, you're full of crap, like you're not gonna do anything. And they make up here, they're gonna get along, everything's gonna be fine. So let's go on to the next question here. What happens to Portia? All right, oh, hang on. Now this is sad. Now you've got to be. Let's see here. Okay, going on. They make up. Everything's fine. Da, da, da. There we go. Okay. So remember in Act 2, Calpurnia had that dream about Caesar dying, and Caesar was all like, I'm still going to the Capitol. You can't scare me. And then we see an interaction between Portia and Brutus where Portia's like, listen, I'm so worried about you, and I know that you think women are the weaker sex, and that our emotions get she's basically saying, like, you don't think I'm strong enough to matter, and to prove her strength and her resolve, she literally stabs herself in the leg. And Brutus is all like, oh man, like, you are so, like, such a worthy wife, you're so strong, thank you for showing me how strong you are. Here we go. So Cassius says, I did not think you've been so angry. Cassius, I'm sick of many griefs. Cassius says, "Of your philosophy you make no use if you give place to accidental evils." Now, this is key because Brutus thinks that everything happens for a reason, and so if Brutus is upset, there's got to be a reason for whatever happened that's upsetting him to have happened. And Brutus says, "No man bears sorrow better. Portia is dead." Cassius says, "Huh? Portia? She is dead. How scaped I killing when I crossed you so? Oh, insupportable and touching loss! Upon what sickness?" There, Cassius is saying, like, I can't believe I just put you through all this bull crap with me taking bribes and all that stuff. I can't believe that you didn't murder me for being so insensitive. I didn't know you were going through such tough times. Brutus says, this is how she died: impatient of my absence and grief that young Octavius with Mark Antony have made themselves so strong. For with her death that tidings came. With this she fell distract, and her attendants absent swallowed fire. So, literally, to kill herself, she swallowed hot coals from a fire. So think of that stuff that at the bottom of a charcoal grill when you get done grilling. She ate that till she died. Yeah, that's brutal. That's bad stuff. That's tough stuff. So that's what Brutus is going through as he is planning for his war here against Octavius and Antony. Okay, so what news? What news does Masala bring? Masala brings news. Let's see here. That Octavius and Mark Antony come down with a mighty power, bending their expedition toward Philippi. So they're moving toward Philippi, and they have put to death 100 senators. They are basically like they've put a bunch of people that didn't support them to death, and they are moving to Philippi. That's where the battle is going to take place. So they have a disagreement here about battle plans. Cassius thinks they should wait. Brutus here, rather, let's go to this. He says, what do you think of marching to Philippi presently? He's basically like, let's go ahead and meet them at Philippi. Let's get going. And Cassius says, I don't think that's a good idea because it's better to let the enemy seek us. So shall he waste his means, weary his soldiers, doing himself offense, whilst we, lying still, are full of rest, defense, and nimbleness. Good reasons. So he's basically saying, like, we need to wait them out, make them come to us. And when in doing so, they're going to use up all the resources and they'll be tired and weaker. We'll be better able to defeat them. And Brutus is like, okay, so you've got good reasons, but they must give place to better reasons. The people twixt Philippi and this ground do stand in a forced affection, for they have grudged us contribution. The enemy marching along by them shall make a fuller number up. Come on, refreshed, new added, and encouraged, from which advantage we shall cut him off. If at Philippi we do face them there. So what he's saying is, Cassius is like, no, let's let them come to us. And Brutus is like, no, if we make them come to us, in between us and them, there are people that don't like us, and Cassius will be able to recruit more people, or excuse me, Octavius and Antony will be able to recruit more people for their army, and so they'll have a better chance of defeating us. So Brutus says, nope, we're going to march to Philippi. Now, after making that decision, he goes to bed here. Let's go down. Here we go. Enter Ghost of Caesar. That's what Brutus sees here at the end of the play. Where's my thing? He sees the ghost of Caesar, and let's look at these lines here. Where we go? The ghost of Caesar. Well, come on. Exit ghost. Enter the ghost of Caesar. Why comest thou, the evil spirit, Brutus? Why comest thou? The ghost says, to tell thee thou shalt see me at Philippi. Brutus says, well, then shall I see thee again? I at Philippi. Why, I will see thee at Philippi then, and exit ghost. So basically, the ghost of Caesar visits Brutus and says, I'll see you at Philippi. Now, historical context, if you have read the Bible, you may have heard of the books Philippians, the Church of Philippi. That's what he's talking about here. Like this is historical stuff. Like these events happened. Okay, cool. That is, oh man, that says Act 3 quick check, doesn't it? I should change that. Okay, this is definitely Act 4 quick check. Okay, so there it is. Okay, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Make sure you have this stuff for your test on starting on Monday, and I'll get Act 5 out here in a minute. Take care, guys.